What is Donald Trump hiding, y'all? We know that he did have a relationship with Epstein. If y'all recall, they were going to release the files. Now, all of a sudden, they are not releasing those files. And people are starting to think, what is Trump hiding? What is he trying to cover up? Now, we know one thing Donald Trump is going to do, and that is tell a damn lie. He is a liar within the soul of his mentally ill mind. Well, for some reason, he is now backing down and does not want to release those Epstein files. Why? Is he in them? Something is just not adding up here.
Joining us now, NBC News senior national politics reporter John Allen, Semaphore White House correspondent 𝐬𝐫𝐽, and Punchbowl News co-founder and MSNBC political analyst Jake Sherman. So, John, the Democrats are trying to use this. By the way, Pam Bondi has a news conference over at DEA headquarters. It's about an unrelated issue. If she is asked about Epstein or says anything about Epstein, we're going to bring that to you. But is the White House concerned at all that Democrats are seizing this and trying to demand answers, make it look like the White House has something to hide?
I mean, they're absolutely concerned, Katie. This is something that not only divided MAGA, but we've seen some wavering among the MAGA influencers, including Lara Trump in the clip earlier. Donald Trump, as he was leaving the White House here, was asked about her, saying that there needs to be more transparency, and basically said that he thought that there was nothing to see here. They're absolutely concerned. Nothing has ripped apart MAGA to the extent that this has, and a lot of these influencers are put in the uncomfortable position of either siding with Donald Trump or distancing themselves from him. Neither one of those is good for them at the moment at which Trump is not out there saying that he wants to have full transparency on these things. In fact, today he started to pivot. You heard him say that Jim Comey and Barack Obama made up these Epstein files, which is sort of interesting because you would think that if that was the case, then there were things about Trump in them that had been made up, that they would have released those when Donald Trump ran in 2016 or when Donald Trump ran in 2020 or when Donald Trump ran in 2024.
Yeah, so we had, I think it was Nick Fuentes the other day, hearing Donald Trump try to blame this on the Democrats, on Obama and Biden, Hillary Clinton, et cetera, laughing in a post on X and saying this is going to break apart MAGA. MAGA is dead. He was cheerleading it. Shelby, the president is continuing to be asked about this. He doesn't want to talk about it, but he keeps being asked about it, including today in front of the White House. Let's listen.
On Texas, how many more seats do you want the Republicans to draw?
5.
And then what if California, New York, Illinois, and other blue states?
Yeah, well, that's okay too, but 5. I think we get 5. And there could be some other states. We're going to get another 3 or 4 or 5 in addition. Texas would be the biggest one, and
So
that'll be 5. The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that.
What did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No. She's given us just a very quick briefing. And in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, and I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden,
All right, so you heard that, Shelby. He doesn't want to be asked about it, but he's trying to quash it. What do we know about what the White House has been doing, or President himself has been doing behind the scenes to try to get people to stop talking about it?
Well, the president has made very clear public statements, effectively saying he doesn't understand why his base is focused on this. He thinks that there are much more important things that they should be focused on. He's trying to shift towards the White House's achievements over the past few months, telling his base that that's what they should be talking about. But he's also privately been making phone calls. He made a phone call to TPUSA co-founder Charlie Kirk over the weekend, who was really outspoken about these release of the Epstein files. And in response, Charlie Kirk said on Monday that he's going to leave it alone. He's not going to talk about it anymore. We also heard that he talked to Dan Bongino, the deputy FBI director, over the weekend. Dan Bongino, who didn't come to work on Friday after a fight with Pam Bondi, was now at work on Monday. Now, I'm told his long-term future at the FBI is still to be determined. He is still frustrated with how this all went down. But you can see him personally getting involved both publicly and privately to try to shift the base away from this focus. And I do think it is continuing to split the base, because while you are seeing some of these big MAGA influencers and influential people in the movement quiet down on this, there's an equal number of people who are really focused on this and say this is an issue that they are not going to agree with Donald Trump on, even if he pushes them to be quiet.
Yes, we have Marjorie Taylor Greene as one of those people. But the other side of it is the Democrats, as we set this all up. The Democrats are really trying to seize this and run with it. What is that strategy, and why do the Democrats believe that they're going to be effective on this? Do the Democrats not risk, Jake, uniting Republicans? Because the one thing that Republicans hate more than a lack of transparency, it seems, in the MAGA right, is Democrats.
So, Katie, Democrats are in the minority, and this is the kind of stuff they're going to latch onto in the minority. It's an effort. Listen, as you said, it's an effort to split Republicans and to show the hypocrisy of Donald Trump. I mean, that's very clear in that respect. Donald Trump has been talking about this issue. He has riled up people about this issue, about the Epstein Files and the various tentacles of that situation, I guess is the best way to say it. And I mean, the question is, does it stick to any other members of Congress? Because the ultimate goal at this point is not to beat Donald Trump. He's not up for re-election, but is to win the House majority in 2026 if you are a Democrat. And I think you'll see ads saying, Congressman X voted to keep Jeffrey Epstein's crimes silent or hidden from the American people. I don't know how much that'll work. I don't know if that'll be an effective strategy. It seems like there are a lot of more effective strategies. But, listen, when you're in the minority, this is the kind of thing that you do, and it splits Republicans, and every opposition party likes to split the other party. It's part and parcel to the congressional experience, is what I would say.
Let me play a little bit of John Ossoff, who, again, is the most vulnerable Senate Democrat running for re-election, trying to seize on this as well in Georgia.
He promised to release the Epstein Files. Did anyone really think the sexual predator president who used to party with Jeffrey Epstein was going to release the Epstein Files?
They're really trying to hammer not just the Epstein Files, but the past allegations that Donald Trump has faced about, with women, including that conviction for, I believe it was sexual assault here in New York. John, the surprising thing about the Epstein stuff, and this continues to befuddle a lot of folks, is that Donald Trump was pictured so frequently with Jeffrey Epstein. There's video of him with Jeffrey Epstein. And under the normal contours of a conspiracy theory, if a White House that promises to release information about any given conspiracy, or anyone releases it, if that person is then seen to be with the subject of the conspiracy, the natural jump would be to say, well, the person seen with the subject of the conspiracy obviously has something to hide. And yet, with this, it's so interesting and confounding why that is not always the case. That jump isn't made by these MAGA supporters of Donald Trump, that maybe they're not releasing it because Donald Trump is in it. I mean, there's no evidence to suggest that, but there's so many pictures of him. And if you're waiting in the fever swamps, wouldn't that be a natural jump?
Look, it'd be shocking if Donald Trump, I mean, we know Donald Trump has come up, and we've seen the pictures that anybody who was doing an investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, one of the powerful people that he knew was Donald Trump. Like, obviously, Donald Trump is part of the larger tale, but I mean, there's no indication that Donald Trump was part of any of the things that Jeffrey Epstein was convicted for or accused of in terms of child exploitation and things like that.
Well, there's no indication of anybody that they keep trying to tie to it of being involved in it.
Sure. And that's why the Democrats feel so liberated to go after Trump on this, is because back since 2016, when he was running against Hillary Clinton, there was this, wild conspiracy theory about her and her, friends running a sex ring out of Comet Pizza in upper Northwest Washington that was insane. I think the problem that Trump faces here, and there are a couple of things. Number one, I mean, who knows what might be in there, but even more than that, I think the White House understands that when you're dealing with conspiracy theorists, no matter what you release, they're still going to ask for more. And no matter what gets out there, they're still going to say that, well, this is just part of the conspiracy, and that it's a little bit never ending. I think it's going to be hard for, the president's political opponents to have sympathy for him, because I think that they're going to look at it and say, well, look, you ginned up conspiracy theorists for the last decade, and, now you're having to deal with it.
Shelby, is anybody at risk of losing their job over this? I mean, there are loud calls for Pam Bondi to be fired, as if she's the one that's stopping all of this in the tracks. She's just refusing to be the one to release it. Is she going to lose her job?
I doubt it at this point. And again, never say never, because it's Donald Trump. He could wake up tomorrow and change his mind. But he has very publicly, multiple times, defended Pam Bondi. I'm told that is the same sentiment in private. He likes her. He doesn't want Dan Bongino to leave either. I think the big question, though, is, Dan Bongino didn't show up to work on Friday. He's back at work today. But that sort of fight that happened earlier this week and the subsequent not showing up to work, the drama that followed, that sort of sparked all of this. And so while Donald Trump might not fire or push Dan Bongino out, I have questions over whether the two are going to be able to work together and whether Dan Bongino is going to be able to make amends and work with Pam Bondi going forward. So that's the big question I have. But in terms of firing anyone, this administration in particular has really resisted sort of the Trump 1.0 theory of quick fires, let's get rid of folks that we don't like. They're kind of doing the opposite, and they're trying their best to keep things sort of low intensity in terms of drama, even when there's very clear internal fighting going on.
And guys, there you have it. All of a sudden now, the Epstein files are not being released. If y'all remember, Donald Trump said that, he was going to have full transparency. He was going to release these files. Now, all of a sudden, he's saying there's nothing there. What? How is there nothing there when this man was locked up? He essentially deleted himself, and his co-conspirator got like 20 years. What is Donald Trump trying to hide? Is Donald Trump in these files? Maybe when he said that he was going to release this, he didn't know that he's in those files, because it seems like that is exactly why Donald Trump doesn't want to release these files.